Okay, welcome everybody. Ken here. Let's officially begin the RoadMap 2021, a roadmap to help you navigate, I'm speechless, the craziness, the chaos out there. We never thought it could get worse. 2020, as you know, was quite a year with the pandemic, etc. So I'm here in the interest of supporting you, of providing you some direction, some clarity and direction as to steps you can take. Steps you can take to protect yourself, to stay healthy, to stay vibrant. And that's not just physically healthy, but also mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, and to stay on top of things so that you can truly take command of your life and navigate the chaos with grace and ease. Many of you are Silva Method graduates or practitioners, whether you've done a training with me or otherwise, or you've done some online. Welcome. This will serve as, again, to point you in a direction, remind you of the skills you have. I'll do a couple of short exercises because we only have a time. And usually when I present the actual course that Mr. Jose Silva created, it's 4 full days from 9 in the morning to 7. And then when we do it virtually, we spread it out, but it's a lot of time. And there are 10 hours minimum of what we call dynamic meditations. So I'll give you a sample. I also have as an intention, there are many of you who perhaps have not met me before. My name is Ken Coscia, or you have not shared my work yet. Thank you. Welcome aboard. I appreciate you being here. This will also serve as an information night for you to give you a little bit of a taste, a preview of what you can realistically expect. And if you decide this is a fit for you, fantastic. I'd be honored to be your guide. We've got a class coming up January 25. It's virtual. So in the privacy of your home, you'll save a ton of money in travel because usually I only do them in person. And soon, hopefully, we get back to that. So I'd like to read something to give you something to think about. We'll do a little short eyes closed exercise. Again, if you're just signing in, best you put yourself on speaker view so you just have me on the screen. I'm going to be using the flip chart and to be able to focus more effectively. This is a Chinese proverb, and it teaches that, you ready? A crisis is an opportunity riding a dangerous wind. Well, I certainly agree with that. But how in the world do we prevent it from becoming a problem? How do we prevent succumbing to the danger and truly finding the opportunity and maintaining it? And that's what tonight is going to be about, like I said, pointing in a direction. You've heard me say, if you've been following my work, I often use the expression navigating life with grace and ease, which is what we all want with mastering our lives, taking back control of our lives. It's an inside game. And a good friend of mine, Buddy, he's my coach. I coach him sometimes. His name is John Filito. And in his book, The 90-Day Game, you find them all over. These are some cards we use. And this one's on 90-Day Game, Grace and Ease. So just think about this and see how this fits for you. And let's set the tone for tonight. Struggling comes from fear and doubt. Agreed? And causes you to draw from the limited resources of your intellect, which means you become reactive rather than responsive. You go into survival and the brain kicks in survival, protection, and we don't think clearly. We don't think innovatively. We block intuition. We block creativity. And, the saying, desperate people do desperate things. When you apply the principle of grace and ease, you draw from a much larger pool of resources, the creative faculties of imagination and intuition within your inner conscious mind. Struggling bypasses the natural processes of incubation and illumination where inspiration is drawn. One more. Grace and ease means less tension. We could all use some of that. Anxiety, less anxiety, and controlling and more ease, trust, and faith. So that being said, in the spirit of it, one of the distinctions that's the difference that makes the difference with the Silva Method Way back in 1944, Mr. Jose Silva spent 22 years researching everything from hypnosis, meditation, to brain science at the time, biofeedback, to psychology, and put it all together. We went public in 66. I happen to be one of the earliest instructors. I'm in my 50th year. Hard to believe. And one of the things he noticed was traditionally meditation has been beautiful as a source of contemplation and reflection, quieting. If you just do that, it's worth it for your health, your well-being. And now neuroscience and the life sciences, there's a ton, thousands and thousands of papers documenting that. However, way back then, as a pioneer of this, he recognized that, yes, you can get all those benefits, lower your brain waves, we now know, into the green and red, what we call alpha and theta. And it's a state of being where we learn so much faster, much like young children prior to puberty. Think about it. I see some of you have some young children there. They're like sponges, they absorb. And you are no different, except as adults, unless we've taken some training or practice or recognize it, we tend to what? Leave it behind. And we live in a world that tends to focus a lot on what's called a materialistic outer point of view, intellect, academics, very important, logic and reason. And there's a whole lot more, though. Kind of misses the boat. So basically, in any personal development you do, first tip I want to give you, there'll be some definite takeaways tonight, even though this is an information night. Short, simple, you can take immediately and use, is what good is it to know something unless you what? Integrate it, make it a part of you, and live it and feel it and benefit from it. So for many people, unfortunately, it's an exercise of curiosity and intellect and getting all this knowledge. But then what do you do with it? So these dynamic meditations, which means you can be passive, reflecting, quieting, and be active in your thinking, in your visualization, in your manner of focusing your attention. And that's when, I don't like to use the term, but it seems like when the magic happens. So let's do a real quick short one. Why are you here? What are some of the concerns you have? If you had a chance to read the reminder that went out about an hour before tonight, I had suggested, think about over the year some of your aspirations, some of your goals, some of the challenges. How would you know you are living your best life? How would you know your best self has emerged in your relationship with those you care about, in your business, with your family, with your friends, in your health and well-being, in your fitness? And let's set an intention. So very simple. I'm just going to ask you, as long as it's safe for you to do this, and you're not driving and listening only on the phone, to close your eyelids. 3 slow, deep belly breaths. Silva graduates, you have a powerful tool that you spent 4 days and maybe did graduate work and maybe have years and years of practice with what? The 3-to-1 method. It's not a secret, guys, but we spend a lot of time developing it. So let's keep it simple, generically speaking, for everybody's benefit. 3 slow, deep belly breaths. And then I'll just simply make some suggestions that you have superior concentration. You'll hear what you need to hear. And I'll ask you to pause for a moment and reflect on yourself. So very short and sweet. Ready? So please allow your beautiful eyelids to close. Nice and easy. Loosen anything you like to loosen. Be comfortable. You're in the privacy of your home or office. And now with your eyelids closed, allow a very slow, deep breath. That's it. Do your best to inhale through your nose. Take your time, filling your body, filling your belly. Hold it briefly, and then exhale out your mouth. Please, if you can, exhale out your mouth. A long, steady exhalation. And as you exhale, just think, relax. Now allow another very slow, deep breath. That's it. Very good. Breathe in peace. Hold it briefly. Let the peace fill you. Now exhale out your mouth. Releasing any of the stuff. Excellent. Now one more very slow, deep breath. That's it. Take your time. Hold your breathe in peace. Now, as you exhale, desire to relax and center yourself. How good it feels to progressively relax deeper and deeper. It's a wonderful, healthy state of mind and body. Tonight, we're together with a group of like-minded, very cool people. The RoadMap for 2021, all about navigating life with grace and ease, allowing our best self to emerge so that we truly take our lives back, take command, make the best of the situation we're all living in globally. Tonight, you will hear and experience what you need to enhance the quality of your life. Tonight, you'll enjoy superior concentration, superior understanding. And Silva Method grads, you remember the 3 fingers technique by placing the tips of the first 2 fingers and thumb of either hand. You can do that now and remind yourself anytime you need or want to tune into this state of being. And remember any of the insights from tonight for you, you'll have quick and easy recall using your 3 fingers. Excellent. Okay, now, in a moment, this exercise will end. And just a nice friendly suggestion that as you open your eyelids and you're back with me, you'll be awake, you'll be alert, feeling fantastic. Okay, you may now please open your eyelids, feeling awake, feeling alert, feeling much better than before. Welcome back. Welcome back. Excellent. So I'm not able to see you. Usually I am when we're in the virtual class. I limit the class to 24 people. So you have my undivided attention, nothing pre-recorded. It's all one of the guidelines is you've got to be able to make all the sessions because I'm going to guide you step way and I can watch and calibrate. Again, tonight's an information night with that. So make sure, pinch yourself, make sure you're back. Good job. So we talked about this idea of navigating life with grace and ease. And I want to say this, first of all, I commend you. I congratulate you. I deeply appreciate you for being here and caring enough about yourself, having enough self-love to take your precious, precious time in your life to be here and to stay through the end and then to do the replays. And if you're doing the replay, great. Because many people complain and complain and complain. As you know, everyone reminds us, most people set New Year's resolutions. They're a waste of time. Forget it. It's a waste. Before the first week of February, most people, they're gone. It's always funny to hear before social distancing or physical distancing. In January, the gyms, fitness studios are packed. Almost have to wait to get in. February, they're empty again. So why is that? I mean, these are well-intending people. Maybe you're one of them. Maybe you've done it. Hey, I've been there too. It's because we haven't rewired our brain. We haven't taken that aspiration, that goal, and made it a part of us. And we haven't developed the habits. Our habits create our life. So we create healthy habits, and we call them habits because we go on automatic. Much like when you drive, when you type, you're on automatic. You don't have to think about it so much. And I'm going to say right now, it's not a quick fix. I am appalled when I see marketing people implying it's quick fix, just take this and write your life. And then they show you the private plane and their big yacht and their beautiful, gorgeous, multi-million-dollar home. Well, nice, that's fantastic. I'm happy for you. That's a real subliminal kind of implication. I want to tell you, it takes a lot of work, a lot of effort to scale a business up like that. It's not a piece of cake. And managing our lives is anytime, especially today, and what's going on, is a real challenge. Agreed? Can you relate? To stay hopeful, to stay positive. It's hard not to say, what's this world coming to? What would be okay? And the answer is you and I, it's up to you, it's up to me as individuals. And I would just simply say to you, I am far from perfect. I do this because I'm learning too, and I'm growing with you in this together. And I've been with my wife reflecting on, we've created a really nice lifestyle, a bubble, if you will. I'm surrounded keep this in mind, it's a takeaway, by like-minded people, by people who care, want to make a difference, people who want to improve their lives, improve the quality of their life, to help others. It's a very special person. And that helps. It's very supportive. And it works. So let's take a look. So those of you, I'm not going to go through my long history, but when I started in 71, real quick, if you know my story, I was a struggling student, literally flunking out of Boston University. I took, I don't even know how I got in the class, other than a dear friend, my childhood friend, sister was dating the instructor. We went to the intro. Next thing I know, I was in the class, and I used what I learned, and I wound up graduating cum laude, almost straight A's, studying less. I was also I was the youngest instructor in the US, possibly the world. Was able to verify that at the ripe age of 19. I was trained and worked directly with Jose Silva. We became close. It's not that we were personal friends, but we were real close. And I followed him all over the place and assisted him. And just wonderful, wonderful memory. Unfortunately, he's no longer with us with that. And this has been my lifestyle. I practice this. I live these principles all throughout. I'm going into my 70th year on this planet, 50 years doing Silva. It's almost like all I know. And it's been wonderful. So during that time, a specialty for me has been working with grads. You may know I'm the guy Jose picked. What a humbling experience. In 1984, there are only 4 people in the world, him and 3 of the very original instructors, traveling the world, certifying new instructors, doing advanced programs. And I was selected to be one of them. It's like, whoa, me? Why me? And it was a wonderful time. I mean, I lived up to it, but it taught me so much. I got to meet so many. I've worked in person training. Forget about videos and online, just in person, small, large groups, a couple of 100,000 people. And I had a lot of interaction, and I got a lot of insight, what works, what doesn't work. And it's helped me to be a much better trainer, a much better instructor. So in that time, I've identified 4 skills that are necessary, I believe, in my experience. 4 skills that kind of sum up an overview of what you're going to learn in the Silva Method, or what you're going to relearn and review. Hint, hint, it's good to review your grads when you come back. And this isn't rocket science. As I go through them, you'll say, oh, yeah. So just remember, some of it's common sense. And just because it's common sense doesn't always mean that it's common practice. Again, hint, hint. So please, guys, I beg you, I urge you, it's really worth it. Our health, our well-being, our lives are at stake. Yeah, there's a lot of, excuse my language, crap going on. And it's up to us to rise to the occasion, to be the change we want to be. And the only way you're going to be that change and be a more compassionate human being, a little more positive, a little bit more patient with your children, your family, to serve your clients, your customers, your patients better, which is, if you're just doing that, you're contributing to a better community and ultimately a better world. This is a worldwide movement. This is not just a seminar or coursework. This is the mission of the Silva Method, to help humanity to evolve, to create a better world for those who follow. It's what keeps me going. It's a mission statement. So let's take a look. There are four, excuse me. So number 1, I would say that number 1 starts it all. It lays the foundation. And without number 1, I'm going to just move my screen a bit, block the chart. We're not really going to go through the chart much tonight. So let's just be colorful. And what we want to look at is these 4 skills. And this first one really sets the foundation. And I don't know if it's fair to say it's the most important, but it sure looks that way. So number 1 has to do with managing your energy, leveraging your energy, staying balanced, staying centered, staying harmonious. I mean, suck in my belly, stick out my chest, in such a way that we're able to move through life with minimum to no pain, with better health, with an immune system that's strong and supportive. One of the challenges now with COVID-19 is, if you've been doing any of the research, it's a new strain. That's the huge challenge about it. Not viruses aren't, they've always been here. It's always been a problem. But we don't have globally we don't have yet an immunological memory. So our bodies, immunologically speaking, don't know how to fight it. It's got to learn that and build that up. And that's part of what we see going on. And the risk, and I'm not here to go over that because that's not my area of expertise, but that much I understand. So let's remove number one. I like playing with these papers. Manage your energy. So what are some of the steps you and I can take? So let's look at some simple takeaways to manage your energy. Number one, psychiatrists, psychologists, therapists will teach us, coaches, life coaches, maybe you've noticed, when people are anxious, when people are anxious or depressed, which can relate eventually, or feeling helpless and hopeless, they're breathing shallow. Their breathing is shallow. It's all in the chest. So slow, deep belly breathing, almost like what they teach in Lamaze, and it's been part of meditation for ages and ages. Slow, deep breathing is the beginning of consciously taking control of the autonomic nervous system. And that is possible. All the research has shown from Harvard in I'm not going to go through it because it'll take too much time, but we know that we can control our blood pressure, our cholesterol levels, our blood sugar levels, and people who meditate regularly and are able to manage their energy age more gracefully. That's been established. I'm not making that up with that. However, the slow, deep breathing is a beginning so that when you have this kind of control, you can eventually be able to relieve pain without the need of drugs and retrain your brain and your body to minimize that. I witness this all the time when we do our immersion, even virtually. By the time we finish the training over the week, or however long we spread it out, people are reporting that they've had a big reduction, 10, 20, 50%. And often some people report complete reduction of it, from serious to less with that. No magic. It's not me, it's them. Because when we're centered, when we're truly managing our energy and maintaining homeostasis, balance, our body is infinitely intelligent biologically, and everything, all the wiring in our body is designed for our what? Survival and security, to protect us. So the key is being able to stay balanced. So slow, deep breathing. I urge you, meditation is one way. Any style, doesn't matter. Do something. Or just even real. When I work with corporations, organizations, I call them a relaxation focusing exercise. Eyelids closed, a few slow, deep belly breaths. And then reflecting on your intention, what it is you're about to do next. And by the way, here's a takeaway that I always bring up in my teaching. If during your busy day, you just take a few minutes, it'll take 5 minutes at the most, can be less, to sit back, close your eyelids, 3 very slow, deep breaths, and then reaffirm your intention, like for the next activity, for what you're going to be doing next. And if you do that throughout the day, you'll find yourself sleeping much better quality sleep. Instead of crashing and burning and being full of cortisol in your body and distress, during the day, you're releasing it. It's the best form of prevention. So if you're having trouble, difficulty sleeping or getting back to sleep, the slow, deep breathing will help you, but better to do it before you're in that state you're during the day. But another one, as simple as going outside and getting fresh air. Here where I live, it's winter and it's damp and it feels a lot colder than what the thermometer is saying. So just bundle up. But that's also very safe. You don't need to wear a mask when you're outside. And you've got the air, the oxygen that you're breathing. Walking in the woods, interesting research has come out, walking literally through the woods helps us to, how do they put it? Promotes the growth, more growth hormones, which helps us to age more gracefully and keeps us more vibrant. It's very good for awakening intuition and creativity. So maybe you live in a city. Well, find a park somewhere. And even if there's not a park, find a tree. Where I grew up in Brooklyn, New York, there were parks, but exactly where I lived, I had to walk a bit or ride my bike a bit, to a golf course or something. But the point is, it helps. Another thing with managing our energy is, there are physical exercise, any kind of just walking. I walk every day. At least 3 of the 7 days, I walk briskly and vigorously, for heart rate and so on. But just 30 minutes of walking helps promote that, especially now in a natural way. Again, I know you know this. Are you doing it though? So may this be some inspiration. I hope it's almost like me encouraging you with that. However, a big piece of that is, in my history studying, I've come to realize that our emotions run our physiology. Again, I'm not making that up. I'm quoting learned psychiatrists, psychologists, neuroscientists, which means this: when we have a thought, whatever that thought is, this is the principle that we build out all throughout the Silva immersion of life and intuition system. The thought is like a light switch, a trigger, if you will. So whatever the thought is, positive or negative, hopeful or worrisome, angry or pleasant, that thought is a catalyst to feelings. So it's very quick. I mean, I'm dragging it out, but it's very quick. Can't even stop that fast. To feelings. And those feelings, those emotions, cause the brain very quickly to release neuropeptides, the chemical messengers of the body. And those neuropeptides determine how we continue to feel and our physiology, and whether our breathing is healthy or irregular, whether our heart health is healthy, whether our blood sugar levels stay stable, et cetera, whether we stay in homeostasis. It affects whether our performance. If you've ever gone on a test, some people have performance anxiety. They know they're tops in their field. They know the work. Or students have performance who study. But what happens is they freak out, they get nervous, they get tense, and then they go blank. The first thing to go when you get stressed is memory and cognition. Are the two that go almost immediately. So the slow, deep breathing is an antidote for that, for the performance. You gotta watch your motion. So it affects the physiology. It affects whether it's tense and flexible. So the other thing is, to manage your energy, we need emotional flexibility. And today, in any business, every business just about, except for the digital business world, has been impacted. I prefer in-person classes. I haven't done any of that in 2020, and I travel all over the world. That's it. I've been reduced to just virtual, which I'm not complaining, but it's impacted. So you got to be able to pivot and be resilient and make sometimes quick changes, or you run the risk of being left behind. Being inflexible, being stuck in a mindset, not having a growth mindset, is not considered healthy. So I urge you to do whatever you need to do. If you need to seek help, if you need a coach, whatever it is, to keep flexible in your thinking, to maintain your emotional resilience and your emotional integrity. So you want to manage your inner dialogue, the way you talk to yourself, the way you speak to yourself, the way if you have a success. So for example, complaining. Complaining is a disaster. It's as bad as worry. It gets us nowhere. It's like a rocking chair. It gives us something to do. And when people go into, you ever know anybody like that? All they do, complain. And they get angry. When you get into that state, you get stressed out. You're not going to think clearly. You're not going to innovate. You're not going to have creativity. And you block any kind of inner wisdom that you might be eliciting. Better to praise. Better, one way to make an opportunity is to find some good in it. Acknowledge the difficulty for sure. Acknowledge the problem. I'm not minimizing. This is serious what's going on globally. Let's recognize it. Take action to protect ourselves. Get plenty of vitamin D, zinc, vitamin C, whatever the naturopaths would teach us that helps to boost our immune system. And then start asking, what can I do to turn this around? How can I make the most of this? How can I better serve my clients? It's a very different mindset than complaining mode. You're more likely then to get ideas. You get the idea? Let me just double check, because I wrote some of this. I'll make sure. What I'm saying to you guys is that you want to stay out of being reactive. If you become reactive, that knee-jerk reaction, that's when we have riots. That's when we have masses of people, that mass mentality, where people lose it and look back and say, oh my God, I can't believe I did what I did. So very important, you want to create a state of being. And one of the surest ways is own your morning, minimize the news. I confess, I used to hardly watch the news, if at all, and I stopped reading papers. And I know many of you have told me that too. I admit to you, that's not the best way to be. It's not. We do need to know what's going on in the world. I need to know because I'm always with people coaching, guiding, mentoring, so that I can deal with it and customize to be appropriate to the times. But once we know, we don't need to wallow in it and be on the 24/7 news cycle where it's just like it's like throwing salt in the wound. Okay, I know, but you hear what I'm saying? So be selective and minimize. Be conscious, know what's going on, be a responsible citizen, and then start focusing on what can I do about it. Because there are a lot of people who are stuck in front of the TV, the radio, and they're just in worry mode and complaint mode, and they get angry and they're cursing, they're yelling at the screen, but they're not taking any kind of action. We need to be better than that and to rise above it. I know it's not easy. It's not easy, but it can be done when you have the right training and you use it and you use the tools. That's the idea? We can make a whole night of this. I won't, promise. Number two is key. Well, you got to know what you want, right? You got to be clear about your goals, your aspirations, what it is you want to work on, projects you have, and then stay focused on them. I've often told people, I make no qualms about it. In my history, I've worked with the best of the best. I've learned from the best of the best. And there are so many individuals who are much smarter than me, more charismatic than me, that I've learned from, and they're not doing this, and they're still alive, but they're not doing this anymore. Well, what's the difference? I'm just consistent. I show up and I keep plugging along. My son, our eldest, gave me a beautiful gift, a little book, What I Like About Dad, and he handwrites it in. And it was about 100 points. Wow. He did one for his mom too, and we were in tears. It was a wonderful gesture. And what he appreciated about me is that I never give up. Because my sister, how come you're not retired? You don't need to work anymore. And they see that. I find it hard to take no for an answer. So I would tell you this, I don't set goals anymore. I mean, I have goals, sure, and I have targets, but I really don't focus on them. It's important that our values are in alignment, or our goals, shall I say. It's important that our behaviors and our actions, our habits are in alignment with our values. One of the, if you want to call it, blessings during this pandemic has been we've all come to appreciate each other more. We've all come to appreciate what we do have. The surest way people appreciate anyone or anything is when you take it away from them. And then we know. That's why when somebody passes on, people immortalize the person and romanticize. And I have to say, why didn't you do that when they were alive? And they would have enjoyed hearing that. That's the time to give them that kind of feedback. So it's important that we're walking the talk. So who or what is most important to you? What do you value as a citizen in your community? Who or what is most important in your life? And if so, are you giving them your attention, your love, even if it's virtual, even if it's picking up the phone? If there's restaurants, Barbara and I, we've been donating here and there, wherever we can, supporting local businesses. We've been taking turns, favorite restaurants, and getting takeout. We're not comfortable sitting in there yet, especially now in winter, where at least many of them we could sit outside, and that was cool. Just to help support the business, because we want to see them stay in business. And boy, the restaurants have been hard for them. And there are a number of causes that I donate to, I subscribe to, because I believe in it, and I want to see them stay, because we need positive, optimistic people who are working on making a difference. So when our values are, our goals are in alignment, our behaviors then are very important. So here's what I do. And what I recommend, write this down. If you're not writing these down, you please do, is you want to work on your future identity. In my mentoring sessions, it's the number one reason why people don't continue, why people drop out, why people do not sustain what they've learned, why people do not grow, because of lack of future identity. They don't have a sense of next week, next month, next year, 5, 10 years from now, regardless of your age. It just means a growth mindset means you're continuing to grow. You're always learning. I don't care how many books you've written, how many PhDs you have, there's always something to learn. I feel the more I know, the less I know. And that's what makes it exciting. So you want to have a life vision. I recommend that more. When you have a vision, a life vision, which encapsulates you physically, your health, your well-being, it encapsulates your emotional state, your spiritual life, your relationships, and all that you do, the goals come easier. You manifest more effectively. You have more oomph. You have more motivation. You're more easily inspired, and you don't lose track. I'm pretty transparent. Sometimes I'm told I have a big mouth, and it hasn't been all wine and roses. My career as a Silva Method instructor, man, I've had my struggles. But you see now, it wasn't always like that. I've had some real setbacks. I've fallen on my face more than a few times. I was like, and what do I do? Especially in my younger years when we were just starting to raise our family. And the only thing that kept me going, and even if there's dysfunction around me, or I'm not happy with policies or whatever, having that vision, that life vision of actions, being involved in activities. And I think this is the greatest training on the planet. That's why most every thought leader on this planet has been through the Silva training. It's like a who's who list, because it's like a work of art Mr. Silva put together. A lot of it through his intuition. And that's why I stay with it, even though I'm skilled in a lot of modalities. I feel like I was born to do this. But having that vision of even just one person at a time, because I know and believe each of us is just a little bit more compassionate, a little bit more patient with each other, a little bit kinder, more generous. It's going to help each of us live, be happier in life, be more joyful, instead of, being surrounded by the turkeys and the whats that are an irritant. And so do the math as more and more people. Again, I make no qualms. I'm constantly surrounding the community, and I'm going to start doing group coaching for people. And I do these programs, and I'm on the phone with grads. I just today was on I did a StreamYard and then a Zoom call first with Ireland instructor, and then with Norway. And I do this and to support each other, to go over ideas and schmooze or whatever it might be with that. When you have a life vision and you're focused on that, all this comes much easier, and it helps you to stay focused. And then you're willing to do what it takes, because nobody can do it alone. We all need training. We all need skills. We all need, some of you on the call, like Karen and others, a little shout out. You remember my first time doing the class in Zoom. I said to the group, I don't know if this is going to work too well. And I'm really apprehensive, even though I've done hundreds of classes, because I really wanted it to work. And everyone's been so gracious and giving me feedback and encouraging me, which is why I'm doing more and more of them, because surprisingly, it's not quite as powerful as when we're in person, but man, it's pretty darn close. And in some ways, some aspects are better because people are really more comfortable in the privacy of the home, and they've really connected with each other. So life vision. Let me just double check. I've been thinking, meditating on this, and I don't mind to admit that I'm looking at some quick notes. Yeah, we're good. I'm proud of myself. So when you have that life vision, it's easier. Third, equally important would be, you got to believe in yourself. Everybody talks about changing limiting beliefs. And a limiting belief, our beliefs, what we believe we can or cannot do, or what the viewpoint we have of what's going on today in the world, in the USA. A lot of it's like a social hypnosis, a cultural hypnosis. And many of our attitudes and beliefs have been passed down from generation to generation. If you look at some of the work on what they call viruses of the mind, it's not biological, it's not necessarily genetic in many instances, but a lot of behaviors and attitudes and positions we take have been kind of like Rupert Sheldrake's work when he talks about morphogenic fields. There's a collective memory, if you will. There's a family memory, if you will. It's another whole topic. So the surest way to build confidence and to change a limiting belief is to start small and to start working on having the confidence that you can figure it out. So say, have the confidence that you somehow, some way, may take you 100 years, may take you 10 minutes to figure it out. Now, that doesn't mean you sit on your butt and just go, yes, yes, come to me, baby. That's very misrepresented forms of the early days of Silva. You got to do some work. You got to have a plan. You got to have a strategy. You can have all the New Year's resolutions. You can have all the goals, but unless you have a plan and a strategy, and you know, have some tactics, and you have some skills you can count on that will empower you to accomplish that. So that's what I mean. But when you have a life vision, you're more open to learning. Maybe reading a book, maybe watching videos, YouTube channel. Go to my YouTube channel, go to my blog page on Silva Method of Connecticut website. On the blog page, I've got, I think, 5 or more pages of videos. I just keep uploading, not just to the YouTube channel. And some of them are really good. Some of them, admittedly, could be better. So confidence. One of the things it's called in peak performance studies, it's called, deliberate practice. And what that means is the research shows it's the most effective way to build confidence and to grow and to learn from what you're getting. It simply means to get immediate feedback, not in an hour, not certainly next week or next month, but the more immediate the feedback, the better. And that's why all throughout the Silva class, I realized that, and I said, gee, the old man, meaning Jose, was so on top of it, because our whole class is structured where you're getting every step of the way, we're practicing and you're getting immediate feedback, how you're progressing. And when I looked at those studies, I said, boy, I really wish he were alive. It's so exciting today, because back when we started, people kind of made like this. I guess I am a pioneer in that. When I started, we were ostracized and people didn't know what to think about us in the community, especially here in Connecticut. It's so freaking conservative. It's not known for personal development, openness, or progressive thinking. It's getting better though, getting better. So all throughout, and that's important. That's why, guys, we've got a virtual class. There's some seats left for sure. Few for reviewers and some newbies. I hope if you're interested, this is making sense to you. You have nothing to lose, everything to gain. Stand behind it 100%. Yes, it's guaranteed as long as you do the whole thing and you are there fully present and you do all the exercises, because then we know you're going to get results with that. But one of the things, talk about this deliberate practice. And it goes into number 4. You got to use more of your mind, more of your potential. So allow me to explain that and put this into a framework, if you will. We know this in studies. If we go, excuse me, go back to the chart. Forgive me, let me just move this sucker. Excuse me, I see it's a little bit crooked because of, I have this on a laptop holder and it's off. But anyway, we know fact, without even looking at the brain science in terms of a waking state beta, this is usually the faster brain frequencies where we're awake and alert, and it's called the outer conscious state. The green, the red, and the black represent sleep, from light sleep to deep sleep. Again, I'm keeping it simple in the interest of time for you. And all during the night, we fluctuate from light sleep to deep sleep and so on and so forth. Even during the day, we tend to fluctuate throughout that. However, if you've ever read anything on psychology, the power of the subconscious mind. And we know that the subconscious is where we are on automatic, where our innermost feelings, how our authentic self, who we really are. We all have files upon files upon files of information, of suggestions, of imprinted attitudes from parents, friends, the books we read, which is another way to manage your energy. Be careful who you spend time with. Make sure you spend some time with positive, uplifting people who have your back, people who will encourage you, people who will support you, people who will say, yes, you could do that, as compared to people, I don't think you could. very important. What's the saying? You can't always choose your family, but you can choose, because you can't choose your friends, but you can choose how much time you spend with them. It is a very important aspect of managing your energy. The environment. From Dr. Bruce Lipton's work, he's demonstrated this over 40, I think for him, almost 50 years, how the environment, not just the air we breathe in the physical environment, but people we live with, people we work with, people we associate with are all part of the environment. The books we read, the seminars we attend, the trainings, and the communities we're in all affect us and build kind of a collective. So surround yourself with people like-minded, or people who you want to learn from, or people you can learn from, or people who you can help with that. So the point is this. This is referred to as an outer conscious state of mind. Let's just put it that way. And what rules here is our physical senses of sight, sound, etc., and objectivity, logic, reasoning, verbal skills. And we need a lot of logic. Of course, it's very important. Analytical thinking, deductive reasoning, being able to figure from point A to point B to C, putting the pieces together. That's just one part. Some compare this to a materialist viewpoint of the world. Some have put it in the old school of Newtonian type medicine, etc. Because by itself, it's just a small part of us. We also have a mind, whatever that means, brain, whatever, thoughts and feelings. We also have a subjective mode. So we have an objective mode of consciousness and the subjective mode of consciousness, which seems to be more here. When we are sleeping, notice your dreams you have. Our dreams can be a reflection of our hopes, our aspirations, our fears, what's going on in our life. Our dreams can sometimes give us insight about something before it happens, called the precognitive dream. Have you ever had one of them? Our dreams can also innovate throughout the ages. Authors, writers of books, best-selling books, people like the Beatles, Paul McCartney in particular, would create Yesterday, one of his famous songs, from a dream. It's not uncommon. Inventions in medicine and science, these big thinkers, but then they spend a lifetime working on it, or lots and lots of time working on it, improving it. So we want really a balance of the two. And that's what we teach. That's what the Silva Method, I said the difference that makes the difference is you're learning how to move from here to here consciously without going to sleep, to stay conscious. And when you are, you can use creative visualization. You can direct your thoughts. You can imagine. There are all sorts of tools and techniques for problem solving that you can. And it's the way to access your intuition, that inner wisdom. And it's not the be-all and the end-all. We need a combination of the two. Frankly, in the Silva Method, our forte, our function, dominant concern is this, an intuition. That's our specialty. And I often teach and ask people, people go through training, you want to bring the two together, you want to marry the two. And then you'll start manifesting more effectively. And the surest way to also manage your energy while you're manifesting is appreciate it. More appreciation, more gratitude, less entitlement. Even if you only make a little success. So you set a goal, you wanted to sign 10 new clients today. I'm thinking of someone in particular I know, but you only got 5. Oh, that's fantastic. Celebrate it. Biggest mistake is to go to bed saying, I could have done better, and beat yourself up, because that will lower your self-esteem. That will make you feel not good enough. And we all need to feel good enough that we deserve success, we deserve, to prosper, and so on. This is perhaps the biggest distinction of why I love this, working with Silva, is our program is in the truest sense a training to awaken and develop and refine your intuition so that you can more consciously turn it on, turn it off, your inner wisdom to guide you to have a guided life, so that you are not lucky. I don't believe in luck, but a guided life kind of means you're in the right place at the right time. And more and more making better, wiser decisions. Imagine what that would be worth for you. It takes practice. So to go back to deliberate practice, I do all sorts of games in the class with intuition, where you're asked to intuit something that there's no way you could have known objectively, and then you get immediate feedback. And sometimes you nail it and you're like, whoa, and sometimes you're way off. But you compare the two and you begin to recognize a pattern. And we do this repeatedly all throughout. So in the first half of the class, we're preparing a way. We're kind of creating a path to your higher self, if you will, helping people sleep better at night, helping people control, eliminate pain without the need of drugs. Like I used to live on medicine for headaches, and I learned how to eliminate them without any drugs, and got to the point where I stopped getting them. And that's not uncommon, for people to do. It's not. I'm not a doctor, and I'm not going to prescribe anything, but I hear this all the time, from people. Because if we don't have our health, if we're not sleeping properly, another thing, manage your energy, you got to get at least 7.5 hours to 9 hours every night. I know some of you say, oh my God, guaranteed you get proper sleep and enough sleep every night. You'll think more clearly, you'll have more energy, you'll get more done, you'll be more innovative, you'll be accessing your intuition more freely. It is necessary. I'm sorry, I kind of wish it wasn't, but all the research shows that, and we know that's the science, behind that. So what we're talking here is getting feedback. And there's something we call caseworking, where you're asked to intuit something, and this is more structured, and you get immediate feedback. And we do it the intuition is up to 10 times. Virtually, not always quite 10, because there are limitations when we do it virtually, but we're certainly getting 5 or 6, which is very cool. And then a lot of support. So however you do it, it's important to get feedback, exercises. It's not enough to just read a book written by a famous author on intuition. It's exciting and wow, it's mesmerizing how psychic they are. But the question is, how are they using it to solve problems? How are they using it, to make good or to do something, better with that? So what we're looking to do then is to develop our intuition so we can make better, wiser decisions and lead that guided life for that. So these, again, just to kind of start wrapping up, pretty close to time on the money here, is our roadmap for success, or the roadmap for life mastery, so that you navigate life with grace and ease. Again, it takes practice and training. Is you want to develop the skills to be able to manage your energy, to stay balanced, to stay centered, to maintain homeostasis, not just physically, but also emotionally, spiritually, to have hope. If we lose hope and we feel helpless and hopeless, we become reactive. If the helpless and hopelessness is not dealt with, we run the risk of becoming depressed. And then we run the risk of it becoming clinically depressed, and it changes our whole chemistry. And then most people need medication then, and they need, deep therapy. And it's not a piece of cake, and it's not fun. So the best medicine, I think, is do what you can to prevent it. So you're managing stress, distress, sure. We can't change people, but we can certainly change how we respond to them. Life events happen. Look what just happened here in the USA. Who would have thought we'd ever see something like that? It's a shock. Or maybe you did think it was going to happen. Who knows what your thought is, but whether you agree with it or you disagree, it's not the point. The point is, what our responsibility is to manage ourselves so that we don't get sucked into the drama. If we get sucked into the drama, we lose our perspective. Perspective is key. How we interpret what's going on, how we look at things, how we process it, so that we stay balanced and centered and stable in our thinking, to allow ourselves to create a life vision, to have some goals that are in alignment with our values, that are fulfilling. If you want to build your business and scale it up, then you want to be asked, are you going on a job interview? Instead of, we call it programming, visualizing getting the job, visualize you contributing. What do you bring to the game? How are you going to help your client or your patient? What can you do for them? Or this company that's going to hire you, you're being interviewed. What skill set, what values, what character do you bring? You can always see character shows up in this crisis, when this challenge. people's true nature comes out. Have you noticed? That's when you really see character. Anyone can be kind of nice when things are going really well and there's no crisis. So make sure they're in alignment, the values, activities. Appreciate more. How can you add value to what you're doing? The third one, again, is confidence in believing that you can somehow, some way figure it out. And of course, you got to take steps, training, skills. However you do that, that are going to give you those skills to do that. So those baby steps help build it, and very important that you celebrate the small successes, because all right, and you begin to build evidence so you can say, hey, been there, done that. Quick personal. After nearly 50 years of being on stage in front of over 1,000 people, to consistently hundreds, like up to 650, 750, to small groups, and now the virtuals. Every time I'm with a new group or new presentation, that day I'm a little bit more. Some of you signed in early, and I was just setting up, making sure the lighting, making sure the Zoom link worked. And I'm not as relaxed, if you will. It's not fear. It's creative unrest. I'm getting ready to do my thing. I'm getting ready to work and putting things in. And I've got a lot of things I want to do, and I kind of love it. I've come to recognize it's important. So sometimes you just got to have the courage to do something, even though you're afraid. So maybe you screw up. When I first started doing videos, man, some of them I misunderstood what I was recommended in getting some training, and I got a lot of comments like, "Oh, boring." I don't get that so much now. I hardly get that now. I'm getting more positive. But I went in and I did it. But then you evaluate, okay, how can I do that better? What can I learn here? That's how you build the confidence. So you can say, hey, I've been there, done that. And I said this to Barbara, my wife. I said, it's so funny, it never gets old. But I know I've done this so many times, it'll be okay. So watch yourself talk. And then, of course, use more of your mind. Begin to expand your conscious awareness to what some call the universe. That's something more. I will say, go on the record, I do believe in, whether it be God, universe, higher intelligence, the universe is organized. It's alive. Even just the science of it, we know. Listen to Neil deGrasse Tyson, the director at Hayden Planetarium in New York City. He's an astrophysicist, and more, what they're teaching us about everything that's in the universe, in terms of the atoms, the molecules, the energy, we also have within us. So yeah, I do believe in something much, much, much bigger than me. And when we're in alignment, it's like a river, being in the flow, that beautiful flow state, we make better, wiser decisions, and our lives work better. And things don't always work out the way you thought. And I would be a living example of that. I don't have this big, huge business, scaled up business like I hear all these young guys talking about their multi-million-dollar platforms. But our life works. We put through 3 children through college, university, no debt whatsoever. We live a nice life. It's a modest home we live in, but frankly, by comparison to what I've witnessed in the world, thank you, God. Thank you, someone. So what we want to do is open ourselves, be open, have a growth mindset to learn more, and to begin to integrate the best of these both dimensions of thought, these both dimensions of expression. So what I'm saying, my friends, is you are far more than what you think you are. In fact, you're probably a whole lot better, a whole lot wiser. You just got to give yourself that opportunity. You just got to allow yourself that chance to recognize that and to appreciate it and to feel it with that. So please make sure you come back and watch the replay later. Within 48 hours, I'll get it out. I do have a life. And study it. Take some notes. And if what I'm saying you're resonating with and you're new to Silva, I would be honored to be your guide to do that. And I would say this, some of you are on board where you've had the Ultramind, those 12 hours of pre-recorded lessons. Really good beginning, good stuff. I'm hearing some nice reports. There's so much more though. Mr. Silva put together equivalent of 4 days program. And that's what I teach. And that's where the action, that's what empowering. So if you're finding that, or you've read some books, or you have even some videos and you're resonating, saying, wow, I'm getting value, you will get so much more in the live class. And I'm not saying that because I want to. I hear that all the time from people. I'm on the phone and then I go through the class and that's what I hear. Read on the page some of the comments I just recently had from people. Again, it would be delightful. And I purposely limit the class size 24 because that's what Zoom allows. I thought I could have more, but the computer I use doesn't have the CPUs for more. So this way I can watch. So tonight was a presentation more you watching me, but when we do the class, I do this, and then I'm also interacting, taking questions immediately back and forth and making sure you're okay. And quite frankly, using my intuition and watching to see how you're responding, watching how you're responding to the exercises so that I can help you do better and manage it. Because if people have even simple questions and they don't get them answered, it's too easy to get discouraged. So it's well worth it. Tuition fee is one time only. Bingo. And then you can come back and review for a very small seat charge. It's, I think, the best game in town. Plus, interesting enough with the Zooms, I'm giving a lot of follow-up. After the class with just your group, whatever that group is you're in, if you are there, we do a follow-up group Zoom. And then I offer complimentary coaching one-on-one, me with you, to make sure you understand and customize it to fit your life. If you decide you want more, I have services available like that. So I think it's just so important. And whatever it is you do, whether you do Silva with me or someone else, or you do another program, make sure that there's plenty of follow-up support that is relevant to what you're studying and not just another upsell to another program and another author, no names mentioned, but I'm seeing that and people tell me, who the heck's got the time to create all these bonuses? And they're upsells with that. So I've enjoyed being here with you. I hope you have. I hope this makes a difference. And it is my hope that we're in this together, guys. Whatever it is, we need more. Some people call them light workers, people working, making a difference. And I hope you make your difference, contribute in any way you can to the world. Have fun while you're doing it. Make it fun and thrive also. You deserve that. Hope to see you soon. Take care and have a wonderful night. And I will sign off for now.